also realize that, okay, borders restrictions sooner or later will open, right? Because we really need to boost up the tourism. We need to bring in more foreigners. Okay, so come into a little bit more statistics 2001 to 2019. Okay, in fact, this is not the first time we go into a situation, okay, called a crisis, right? Okay, in the 2003, we actually have got SARS, if you remember. Then after which, okay, in the 2009, we have got this global financial crisis. Then comes, okay, TDSR, okay, cooling measures that actually bring down the prices a little bit. Okay, so if you follow my green boxes, now comes the 2020 COVID-19 situation. So apparently, even with all this crisis going on, long-term wise, from a 20 years perspective, you realize that there's a general direction that our market, okay, called Singapore real estate, is heading. Okay, prices continue to go up in a COVID year 2020. So this is something that you can share with your customer. Number of transactions, of course, every time when there's a crisis, there will bound to be a dip. Okay, but every time when there's a dip, it always comes with a great return. Price, number of transactions went up. So you see, whatever goes up got to come down. Whatever comes down slowly or sooner, it will go up as well. Okay, so not to worry. Okay, you see, even though 2019, 2020, there's a dip in transactions. Okay, after the COVID situations get better, the number of transactions actually went up in 2020. So now the year 2021 is again your prediction, where when you look at the projects that is recently launched, do you think the number of transactions will continue to go up? Will Singaporeans and people residing in Singapore continue to put money, okay, into Singapore real estate? So this is something that you can predict. All right, these are the months breakdown for last year. If you remember the 2 months that we do a lot of Zoom, okay, circuit breaker, when most of us are staying at home, okay, prices was very worrying. Okay, it was only like 293 in April, 509, okay, in May. That 2 months was really a concern for real estate agency, for developers, for leaders like us. But shortly after, right, this number of transactions actually went up tremendously until government got to come up with this, to me, it's called cooling measure, called the no reissue of OTP. How many of you agree with me that no reissue of OTP is a cooling measure? Can you just type 1 inside the chat? How many of you think that the no reissue of OTP is actually, in fact, a cooling measure, right? So if you ask me, this is considered a cooling measure. Why? Every time when there's a cooling measure, okay, it was actually introduced in September, immediately the effect comes in. 682 transactions from the previous month, September, okay, 1,385, a drastic drop, okay, almost like half. To me, Singapore buyers, they are very sensitive towards all these cooling measure, right? So will cooling measure comes again, we will see, right? So the thing now is, okay, of course, we are in a recession where everybody are now very fearful about the market. Okay, of course, Warren Buffett always shared this about being be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. Okay, in a general context, okay, people are more sensitive and they are a little bit more fearful about coming or doing huge investment, but like real estate. But this is the time whereby you can encourage, okay, your customer to be a bit greedy. This is a good opportunity to come into core central region if last time they have ever thought of moving their property portfolio nearer to the city. This is in fact a very good time. Okay, also the past many quarters, you realize that, okay, since 2017, right, when we start the recovery, prices, even till COVID, the prices has been going up. Okay, 2.1%, which is a very good quarter. We increased 2.1% at the very last quarter of 2020. And prices have been keeping up for the last 3 quarters. And I strongly believe when the first quarter result is out, okay, soon in a few days' time, I believe the prices will continue to go up. Okay, so you realize that the 2.1% is actually the highest growth rate since 2018 cooling measure. Okay, so private home prices continue to go up, and this is what you need to share with your customer. So I break them into different regions. So of course, being the mass market, OCR increased 1.8%. But what is really scary to me is RCR, right? Prices went up so much, 4.4% in just 1 quarter, okay? But if you see for the past few months, in fact, the RCR, the one in blue color, you realize that they actually go up, okay? Collectively, the highest, they increase the most, okay? Comparing to CCR, the one in orange, in fact, the price is hovering around the same price index. So in fact, if you ask me, this is probably one of a good time, okay, to penetrate into CCR because prices didn't go up, didn't go down, right, in this pandemic situation. And the potential of CCR growth, okay, so you must understand why is it important to invest property in different region, right? Of course, when you go into a mass market condo, right, your investment risk is a little bit lower because of the lower quantum, so to speak, okay? But CCR always give you a better return. This is the same to the rest of the countries, okay? Example, when anybody who wants to buy, a Singaporean who wants to buy a Malaysia property, normally we will look into their better big cities whereby price appreciate more, okay, like KL, like Penang, etc. Okay, so when people come into Singapore, they will definitely want to look into CCR, where they are very familiar, okay, in their own country. They have definitely heard of Orchard Road, etc. Right? So long-term wise, if you look at CCR for the 15 years growth, okay, the property price per square foot actually appreciate 100, okay, and 58%. How many of you, okay, look at this, 15 years give you 158%. If you think this is good, okay, a good return, can you just type yes inside the chat group? And if you think 15 years is no good, okay, you just type no. That means if you put $1 million, it becomes 1.5 times more. Okay, it becomes 2.5 million, right? In just 15 years. Okay, whether is it good or no good, can you just type yes or no? Okay, and of course, I break them down into 5 to 10 years as well. But for real estate investment, like what I told you, is always about a long-term perspective that you should look at. Okay, cooling measures in place. You see, government is always very particular about the sentiments in the real estate industry. So cooling measures, if you ask me, is to protect you and me who put money into real estate, right? Nobody will like to have a bubble, okay, forming in the Singapore real estate market, okay, because when bubble bursts, it will affect a lot of people. And a few more reasons, okay, I'm going to share with you, and you can share this with your customers, okay? If you realize since last year, Singapore dollars interest rate actually dropped, right? It is a good time to use Sing dollar to buy into property, right? Because the interest rate dropped, the interbank rate also dropped, so you can borrow other people's money, okay, near zero, okay? And you see the federal actually says that near zero through 2023, right? They hold it there, indicate that it will stay for a few years to come. Okay, if you want to invest in real estate, okay, the best way is to borrow OPM. What is OPM? Anybody know what is OPM? Can you just type inside the chat? Anybody know what is OPM? You tell your customer, they will know what is OPM. So as salesperson, you must know what is OPM. right? Okay, other people's money. So you see, the best part about buying real estate is about borrowing other people's money, is the ability for you to leverage on other people's money while coming out with very low down payment. Okay, so all the smart investors out there will know how to leverage, okay, especially when you see interest rate going really, really low. All right, so this is the opportunity, and you can take advantage of low interest rate in today's Singapore real estate context. And you see, and whatever we share so far has already came true. You realize that developers have been selling very well. You look at Clairvon, 70% of 640 units, okay, are sold, right, at the very first day. Then we have got Normanton Park, okay, selling very well as well. Reef selling very well as well. And you see, especially for Reef is not really a mass market condo, right? But they also get to sell very well in today's market situation. Okay, so in times of uncertainty, like today, global pandemic, real estate, okay, something that is more concrete, brick and mortar, will naturally stands out. People still believe in real estate, especially in Asia, right? Most of us will want to put money into real estate. So this is what I always share with my agents, share with my customers. All right, demand can be destroyed, right? Demand can be delayed. Demand cannot be destroyed. Okay, especially in a good country like Singapore. Okay, just in case you do not know, recently there's a dip of Singapore population. Okay, because of the global pandemic, people are getting back to their countries, right? But over the last 10 years, so to speak, we actually increased 15%. Okay, and in fact, a lot of people are not aware of this population increasing, right? So if you remember, we actually have got a white paper that says that we need to have 6.5 to 6.9 million population by 2030. Okay, so I want to share with you this opportunity, right? If you read in the news, Singapore population dropped for the first time since 2003. Hello, 2003 until 2021. Okay, it has been a long time that we see population drop, right? Is this a good news? To some, it's really two school of thoughts, okay? But when you are in doubt, always look long term. When foreigners depart, is it a good time to buy? Right? To me, yes. Why? Because they are not coming in to compete with you. Okay, if you are residing in Singapore or you are Singaporeans, now it is the time for you to flex your muscle, right? Because they don't come in and just buy. Okay, if you remember a few years ago when the Chinese, okay, from China, they actually come in, they really come in and just buy property in Singapore, that brings up our price so much. Okay, so you see foreigner buying Singapore private homes also dropped to the 17 years low in 2020. So when I'm in my show flat, I also see more Singaporeans now than I see foreigner. Why? Because most of my show flat in CCR, we are very sensitive towards this foreigner buying. Okay, and in fact, over the past many years, it's always foreigners who are buying. But last year, a lot of smart Singaporeans or foreigners staying in Singapore actually get to buy the property now. Okay, so this is an opportunity that you can share with your customer when others are fearful. Okay, when foreigners are not coming in, this is a great time to penetrate into a good location where Grange 1866 is. And to me, yes, this is 100% an opportunity. If you think this is an opportunity because foreigners is not here, foreigners don't buy real estate in 2020, can you just type yes inside the chat group? At least I know who is with me and who is not with me. All right, and I also want to encourage salespeople out there, if today, okay, you haven't buy your property, you should look into buying a property now. Okay, in Singapore, you should buy now, because sooner or later, when they just announce, okay, border restriction lifted, okay, travel bubble with certain countries, trust me, foreigners come in, immediately prices will go up. when this news will to come out soon, right? Developers, as much as I'm working with them, they are very into the news. They will immediately hold their discount. Okay, so I think if you haven't buy anything yet, this is also an opportunity for salespeople out there to actually buy a good property. Population, okay, if you have seen this, right, and if you can Google Singapore population, 6.5 to 6.9 million by 2020. And being a salesperson, okay, no need to argue with your customer whether is this good or Singapore, is this good for Singapore or not? Okay, how is it going to affect your lifestyle? Work is work, all right? Politics is politics. End of the day, I want you to see from a longer perspective, why is it important for Singaporeans to bring in population, right? Because the birth rate of us producing baby is really low. The only way that a country can survive without resources is to bring in smart people, good population into our country, okay, whereby they can come in and do business, and we enjoy the human capital, right? So 6.5 million minimum, okay, in another less than 10 years time, right? And if you look at this, the bottom end of the projection is at least 6.5 million, right? So we got almost a million more to go. Employment rate rose after pre-COVID levels, okay? Whoever affected, if you ask me, they are already affected, okay? I'm talking about the travel, tourism industry in Singapore. Certain F&B, they are affected. Yes, I totally understand. But I felt after 1 year, if you continue to choose to be affected and you are not willing to change, okay, and do something different for your industry, right? You also got something wrong with you. Okay, there's a lot of people who already venture into other industry because certain industry are just not going to recover as fast. Okay, but for those who change, employment rate has already rose to pre-COVID level, just in case you do not know. Okay, so you see our employment rate in Singapore still remain high. Why am I showing all this? Is because I need you to give reassurance to your customer who potentially might throw you objections to say that, wow, my job is not stable. Okay, I'm fearful if suddenly I got retrenched, I cannot find a job, right? That's why if from a bigger perspective, sometimes you can share a little bit about what government has been helping, okay, all the employees out there, helping companies, okay, to bring you for more learning and education, okay, to improve your skill set. These are what we are doing as a company, as a country. All right, so employment rate in Singapore, not an issue at all. Okay, and if you see for the past 20 years, there's 100% increase in monthly wages. That means people who come out from university, people who every few years change job over time, okay, wages actually increase 100% in 20 years, okay. And if you look at this report, it also says that Singapore getting wealthier. How many of you feel you are wealthier, or how many of you wants to be wealthier one? Okay, can you just type 1 inside the chat group? Like it or not, Singaporeans, okay, grow wealthier. Wow, you type 1. All right, everybody get wealthy, okay? So in short, right, generally, we are not very affected by this global pandemic. I don't know whether you feel it or not. Okay, I still see a lot of people buying into real estate, okay, investing in other things like stocks, buying more gold, okay, having finer things in life, okay, even with this global pandemic, right? See, there's actually a high savings for Singaporeans, okay, and if you realize a lot of assets over time, especially the last 10 years, okay, actually appreciated. Okay, guys, let's don't take this for granted. Why do I say that asset prices increase is important? You must understand, if you put money in the wrong country, there are countries whereby their assets, their real estate don't appreciate over time, right? Once you buy, your money is stuck there. Okay, so this is what is happening. And I would like to remind all of you all, don't take things for granted. Okay, it is really nice to put money in a country like Singapore, whereby prices get to appreciate over time and over time. Okay, to even HDB, right? Okay, if you buy a HDB 10, 20 years ago, okay, prices still continue to appreciate. Okay, just in case you do not know, BTOs in Punggol, Sengkang is already selling like 300,000-400,000, right? Whereby 10 years ago, they are only selling 100,000-200,000. So prices do appreciate, okay, in Singapore. Okay, this is something I want to share with you. Maybe a little bit more technical, but I try to simplify this as much as possible. If you realize that there's a few years whereby we go into a negative GDP, that means the country is not doing well, right? So you got to ask yourself, is this a good time, okay, 2020, when we go into a negative GDP, whereby government pumping so much money just to support, okay, Singaporeans and people working and staying in Singapore. You look at this, okay, during Asian financial crisis, okay, when we got a GDP negative, I ask you, is it a good time to buy back then? Right? And of course, we got a dot-com bubble. And during SARS, if I give you one opportunity to buy any property in Singapore, is it a good time back then to buy? Right? Then here comes the probably a bit more recent. Maybe some of you are already in the business when the bank collapsed, when we go into a global financial crisis. Okay, bank also can collapse. If that time, as much as all of us are fearful, if you remember, okay, if I ask you to buy something in year 2009, 2010, would you have bought something no matter how much money you have? Will you go and find some money and buy a real estate? Why? Because if you buy back then about 10 years ago, whatever property, no matter which location in Singapore, okay, prices would have gone up so much. Okay, and this negative GDP is always an indicator whether is it a good time to buy. Why? Because shortly after, prices always go up, okay, as a form of recovery. Why? Because Singapore government and the businesses in Singapore also wants to do well. So everybody will then work harder, pay more money, okay, and buy more real estate. So now, show this to your customer. We have got this COVID-19, okay, crisis. We are in a negative GDP. Ask your customer, get the prices will go up in the next few years. All right, okay, our Deputy Prime Minister also say that highly we are going to recover in the second half of 2021. Okay, developers take up rate, whether we recover or not, guys. Selling property is what we salesperson are doing. Okay, we take benchmark from all these developer. Okay, whether they have got healthy take up rate. Okay, these are really, really important. You see, from 2020, okay, that's really a good sign that people are confident about Singapore real estate launches. The reason why this is also doing well is because we have got very limited GLS land coming up. Okay, GLS land, just in case you are new, okay, these are the government land sales site whereby it is available, okay, to tender by developers. Okay, they will actually bid for the land, and these are some of the land that is available. Okay, so not much land available, so to speak. Okay, recently there's this launch that we always want to emphasize to you, okay, a project in Tanah Merah, right? MCC land, also our customer bought this piece of land at $930 per square foot per plot ratio, okay? And what's important here is you need to take note, okay? We are in the environment whereby a piece of land in Tanah Merah, we have got 15 different developer or consortium coming up to actually bid for the land, right? So this gives a very strong indicator that developers are deprived of land banking. Why? Developers' business is very simple. I buy land, I build residential, I build homes and I sell it to people. If I don't have land, all my marketing staff, all my sales people, all my account, all my HR got nothing to do, right? Because our product as developer is to sell property. So these are two indicators: high land price in mass market and also number of bidders. That is something that you can share with your customer. These are indicators why property in Singapore will continue to do well. Okay, imagine I show you another extreme perspective. Imagine government put out a land out there, no developers bid for it. What do you think about this country? What do you think about the market situation? Okay, good or bad, right? So you see, it's always better to have higher price and more bidders to tell you very strongly that the market is doing well. And in Tanah Merah, okay, they are potentially going to sell 1,007 to 1,008 per square foot. Okay, Tanah Merah is a outskirt area considered OCR property. If they are going to sell 1,007, 1,008, this will somehow or rather bring up the price for RCR, of course, CCR then. Okay, search in resale transaction. Not only new launch go up, okay, resale transaction also went up drastically. People who never get a chance or people who cannot wait, now they actually venture into resale, which is ready. 20 years, you see up and down, right? Whatever goes up, come down. Whatever goes up, come down. So this pattern will never change, right? So you see when it comes to this, so it's really a very good indicator that, okay, the prices, the number of transactions will continue to go up. Okay, if you remember, just very few years ago, we have got this en bloc fever. A lot of people become multi-millionaire because of their property being en bloc. Okay, what I want to share with you here is you take note. Okay, number of units held by developer actually dropped drastically for the past 6 quarters. Okay, number of inventories in the market. In fact, if you ask me, we don't have a lot left. If you go to your ERA Pro, if you look at especially the RCR and the OCR project, okay, most of them are at least, okay, 70-80% sold. Many of them are like 90% sold. If you want to buy a unit in Singapore, in fact, you are left with the balance unit. Okay, so this is a good news. Okay, why? Because when developer has got deprived in land banking, naturally what they do in these few days, you also see news that developer revisit en bloc site due to lack of land banking. Could en bloc fever start again? Oh, just for your info, this one already started. Okay, this one I took this article in, I copied. Okay, this article is from December last year. Okay, recent news already tell you, right? So this is the latest news article. En bloc fever, okay, cautiously coming back in Singapore. Why I need to emphasize this en bloc? Of course, one thing is developer don't have a lot of land bank, which they are definitely going to acquire more land, so to speak. And the other thing, because we are marketing Grange 1866, guys, if you are a CCR agent, you cannot don't know that District 910, the prime district, usually have got the highest historical en bloc sales. In short, you got higher chance to go for en bloc, okay, if your property is situated in District 910, right? Long term wise, okay, a lot of developments in District 910 will go through en bloc. Okay, and of course, if you look at the 40 years historical data from our property price index, can you see very obviously when I plot the supporting and resistance line, you see a huge bubble here. I ask you, end of the day, people who buy properties, okay, in the 1990s, 1997, 1998, did they make money? Can you just type your answer inside the group chat? Right? Did they make money or lose money? Can you just type inside the group chat? Okay, so come type, keep the answers coming. If you buy a property in 1990s, did you make money or did you lose money? So long-term wise, okay, even when you buy in a bubble in a good country like Singapore, you just take a bit longer time for your property to make money, right? Because property is always about the holding power. If you have got the ability to hold long-term, okay, naturally, even when you buy at the highest peak, okay, of course, I don't want you to buy at the highest peak, like you take a longer time to make your money, okay? Imagine you are buying very near to the supporting line. Ask yourself, would you want to buy a property near the supporting line that I plot in circle now? If given a chance, will you want to buy at the supporting line? Why is supporting line very important? Okay, when it comes to technical analysis, this is okay the threshold that buyers out there is willing to take. Every time when okay all these property price index hit the supporting line, it is very natural that buyers out there take action. Why? Because it has already hit the supporting line. I don't think the price should be so low anymore. Therefore, I decide as a buyer to penetrate into the market. Okay, so to me, I always look at all these sales facts and figure, right? So if you are into stocks, if you are into investment, these are certain things that is very fundamental that you do before you buy, okay, any companies, right? So for real estate, we also look at long term and we look at the supporting line. So in short, tell your customer, buy real estate to wait and don't wait to buy real estate. So when is the best time to buy a property? So if you have been to my channel, okay, I always share this. Is this A? And everybody who are still listening, can I ask you to sit up? Okay, look into my screen again, right? Look at A. If you think A, buy at the highest point, most expensive, you become more happy. Can you just type A? Or when the price starts to come down a little bit, slightly below the peak, you type B. Or you want to buy at the rock bottom, okay, you type C. Or is it at the start of the recovery, okay, you will then buy a property. Whether is it A, B, C, D, if you are still listening to me, if you type in the answer, you will close a deal. Can you just type in your favorite answer? Okay, A, B, C, or D, what is the right answer? Only when you type an answer, then you will close deal. You never type, you will not close deal. See, only when I say this kind of thing, everybody will type A, B, C, or D. So of course, you see, the first thing is don't buy at the peak, right? You buy at the bubble, then after which you take a longer time to make money. All right. So you see, when things are dropping, prices are falling, don't jump into it. You don't know when is the bottom. Let it fall, okay? And rock bottom, ladies and gentlemen, if you're thinking about C and you type C, okay, in my chat box, there's no such thing as C. You will never know when is the rock bottom until government show us the statistics. Okay, I repeat, you will never know when is C. Okay, so never wait for C. You will never know. Okay, the best time to invest in property is always at the recovery, and this somehow or rather reduces the risk you have. Okay, why do I say that? Because when people are starting to take action, they are against the property price being so low, they take action, they buy at higher price, therefore the property price index will go up. Okay, so I felt this is not only a good time, it is also a very safe time for property investors to come into the market. Okay, and are we at recovery now? Yes, I think we are at recovery stage now. Okay, so this is something that I will always show. I also plot the supporting line for all of you. You can see it is a very strong indicator that we have got multiple support lines, support points here. From a long-term perspective, from the property price index, we need to see a very strong supporting line. Okay, over time, gradually, due to inflation, price will naturally go up. Everybody knows that, right? So it is important to understand where are you before you jump into the market. So support line is one good indicator, okay, to buy in now. All right, so these are some good times that you can buy in. At least if you ask me, okay, if I plot a resistance line here, okay, you bound to have this amount of money potentially for appreciation. To me, this is a good time, okay, at the start of recovery. right? Okay, if you want to see even shorter term, it becomes even clearer. Okay, and I also put in SSD when they introduce ABSD, when they introduce COVID situation. Okay, in general, if you look at the green one, Singaporeans and the buyers there, they just want the prices to go up. Okay, of course, prices go up and down because of market situation, because of cooling measure, because of global pandemic. But naturally, okay, if you look at this, all my green arrow are pointing towards, okay, a very strong upward trend. Okay, the red color one, okay, is just temporary. It goes down just for a while, right? Okay, so my question to you and your potential customer is, what if I tell you in 2021, which is this year, there is another round, okay, of cooling measure, which I don't know, okay? Trust me, there will be a certain review to be done, okay, when the first quarter of property price index were to come out in a few days' time. And this will somehow or rather allow government to have some time to review our market situation. If they see that there is really a very strong demand, they want to cool and they come out with new measures. I want to ask you, will it affect you or your buyers coming into the market? If they change the LTV, they increase the ABSD, will this somehow affect you? Okay, yes or no, can you just type inside the group chat? If they tweak a little bit on the regulation, LTV, ABSD, will it stop your customer from buying? So you see, buying a property is not only about pricing, right? Sometimes it's also a little bit of politics, because government come in and regulate at certain point in time without telling you and me. They always do that like on a Friday evening, 7 p.m. when your customer, when you're having a very good dinner with your friends and family, then suddenly, okay, by 2359, we're going to introduce this thing. Okay, then everybody got to put down your chopsticks and also run to show flat. Oh, then everybody stay there for another 12 hours at least. Okay, churn out OTP, quick, buy now, call all your customer. Okay, and highly likely, if you look at whatever I show you, and if you're following me and you understand, I think there's a high possibility that this is one measure, another cooling measure that will potentially come out. Okay, you don't have to be too shocked when another cooling measure come out, because even during negative GDP prices, okay, global pandemic, prices kept going up. Okay, so this is a case for the government. Okay, the few more reasons I felt why people should look into CCR property like Grange 1866 is really because of these high RCR prices. Okay, people are transacting East Coast property at about average 2425 per square foot. Okay, to me, okay, high per square foot in RCR, right? And if you can buy high per square foot in RCR, why don't you consider buying uh the same price for a CCR property? And why government come out with different region is because to tell you CCR is a better region to be in, right? That's why we call it core central region. All right, so you see, if RCR, these are all the RCR prices, okay, highest per square foot. Okay, the average is about hovering between 2006 to $2,900 per square foot in Kallang, okay, in Keppel area, in East Coast, etc. Okay, CCR highest per square foot where Grange 1866 is, you realize that, okay, there's many record-breaking high per square foot ever achieved. Boulevard 88, right? Orchard Ion, okay, even RV Altitude, okay, at River Valley is transacting at 3001. Okay, these are the record-breaking per square foot ever achieved. Okay, when you want to bring your capital appreciation to the next level, it's always to benchmark, okay, yourself with your neighbors, people in the same category, the same kind of property. Okay, and if you're marketing 1866, I want you to show this to your customers. Okay, these are some of the new launches at CCR. Okay, I sort them into their per square foot. All right, and they hovers averagely at $2,868 per square foot. Whether is it 99 or freehold, you see, we are freehold, right? Some 99s, in fact, 99 sell better, right? The 99, okay, the higher price. So to speak, high freehold long-term wise will definitely benefit from all these high per square foot from 99. Okay, if we are apple to apple comparison. Okay, Grange 1866, I want you to benchmark yourself with the luxury property because you are in one of the best location, okay, highly sought after in Orchard Road. Okay, so you benchmark yourself. If you meet foreigners, okay, who do Zoom with you, okay, let them know that we are in fact a little bit underpriced for Singapore real estate context, right? About USD $1,500, whereby, okay, in Hong Kong, they can go up to USD 3,001. Okay, and the rest of the countries, if you look at this, like Australia, okay, UK, US, the good cities, right, they are hovering about 2,500 to 2,600 USD for their prime. So this is a very apple to apple comparison. So there's really a huge capital upside, right? Because these people that you're potentially going to meet, they really have got the expertise in buying property. They have definitely seen properties from their own countries. Okay, and of course, if we compare Mark and Patterson, this is something that I always want you to tell your customer if you're selling 1866. Hello, our neighbor is Mark at Patterson. Okay, how many times you can buy a property beside the most expensive prime property in Singapore? Okay, their highest per square foot. How much is that? 6,000 over dollars, right, per square foot. So I put here 6xxx. All right, so 6,000 over dollars per square foot for your neighbor. So this is something that I want you to benchmark. Okay, if you can get a huge discount comparing your neighbor, it is a steal. Okay, let me introduce and show you a little bit on Grange 1866. Grange 1866 is now the project called I Live, I-L-I-V, I Live. Okay, we are going to bring down this project and build Grange 1866. This is Mark at Patterson. Can you see? Okay, when you drive past, there's a bird or a horse here. Okay, so we are going to be the neighbor of the most, one of the most expensive and definitely the highest per square foot project in Singapore. Okay. And I want to tell you this project because not many projects in Singapore can tell people my nearest MRT station is Orchard Road, right? Okay, Orchard Road is the whatever project you are selling in Singapore, everybody benchmark against you, where everybody claims to be near you. You realize that whether is it a Tampines project, or is it a Potong Pasir project, or whether is it a Great World project, everybody will claim how near to Orchard Road. Okay, for you, your nearest MRT station is definitely Orchard, right? You can technically walk there, right? Walk to Orchard Road, walk to Orchard Ion. And of course, the other three nearest supporting MRT station, right? If you can do your shopping from Somerset to Orchard Road, right? You definitely can walk from Great World to Grange. You can definitely walk from the Orchard Boulevard to Grange, right? So how many condominiums in Singapore can be supported by 4 MRT stations? Not many, right? Why do I say it is important? Because it's a lifestyle that you get to experience different part of Orchard Road, okay, where your home is very near. Okay, so just in case you do not know, okay, Mark and Patterson, I put in some details here, 6,800 to be exact, right? Then average price for Mark and Patterson, your direct neighbor, you all share the same wall, the same abiding wall, okay, that separates the two property, hovers about $4,000 per square foot. Okay, and it's always important to know what are the transformation near Grange 1866. If you look at the arrows, these are still flat piece of land, up and coming. Okay, if you want to buy a property, it is always good to be surrounded by at least a few pieces of land that is up and coming, that government will put out for GLS sale. Okay, and of course, if you are not very familiar, this is the piece of land, okay, that is directly opposite Orchard Ion, the one that I circle. This is really, really very near to 1866. Okay, when the MRT is ready, right, they're going to do up, okay, first story mixed commercial and residential here, okay, and the one in beige color, all these are residential land, yellow color government state land, right? So there's a few more pieces at the very prime Orchard Road that is up and coming. Okay, so these are things whereby you can look out for in future and the potential upside for Grange 1866. Okay, and I did some comparison. Okay, I want you to compare yourself Grange 1866 with all these 5 projects. Yes, of course, there are some big and small projects. Okay, you see, Mark is also not Mark at Patterson is also not a huge project, 66 units. The 21 AP is also not a huge project, right? Okay, of course, I also compare the a little bit bigger projects, 100 over units, right? Okay, so these are some comparison that you should be very familiar with. Okay, and I put them side by side. Okay, different developers, different launch day, different TOP date, but you look at their prices, okay, that is surrounding Grange 1866. Guys, didn't you realize majority of the prices are hovering here, right? Okay, even the lowest one is at least $2,900 to $3,300 per square foot. All right, so you see your mark at Patterson hovers about $4,000 over per square foot, which is here. Okay, the last one that I drew a box there. These are the average prices, and if I tell you you can potentially buy something that is here, the one that I drew circle, wasn't it going to be a steal for your customer? All right. And the other thing that I emphasize, because core central region is sometimes not about money, it's about who are you potentially going to make friends with, is the community. And people who wants to buy such location to be beside, okay, Orchard MRT station, they are looking for the community whereby it is filled with ultra high net worth. Okay, ultra high net worth, okay, if you Google, are defined as people with having a net worth of at least $30 million. Okay, so you see, and I bring out the buyer's profile, you realize that if you look at the one in silver, okay, 40%, okay, of the 5 projects that I show you are actually foreigners, right? People who come Singapore and do business, build their headquarters. Okay, 40% are filled with, okay, foreigners. This is no surprise to the ultra lux property in Singapore. Okay, usually Singaporeans holds up not more than 30% in a certain project. Okay, so this is to tell you that, okay, this profiling is really good and really correct in this 1866 context. All right, and okay, if you look at addresses, right, certain projects that you buy, you see a lot of HDB upgraders, but you look at our location here is only 5.9%. Means these people are really, okay, high net worth people who enjoy finer things in life. All right, most of them already have got a private profile, the one in yellow. That means when they buy a property from you, they fill up their address. We take note that they are all from a private property already. Whether is it a luxury condo or whether is it a good landed property, it is still considered under the private profile. Of course, other profile can be like companies, okay, which holds a little bit, but majority are private property profile. Okay, I want to bring to your attention, okay, the starting price from 1866, if you ask me, this is ridiculously low, 1.4 million, right? Even my mass market already sell more than 1.4 million. Grange 1866 developer, okay, has price to sell, okay, 1.4 million. Okay, this is the guide price, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so I take the benchmark 1.45 million. Okay, it should give you about $2,700 per square foot. And if you realize they are actually focusing on the smaller units, Okay, in situation like that, okay, I felt lower quantum affordability is the way to go, right? If they like to buy the most luxury ultra lux project, okay, Grange 1866 with such low quantum, okay, it's definitely worth taking a look, worth considering. And you see, $2 million for a 2-bedroom is really affordable in such location. Okay, so focus is in fact on the smaller quantum. Anybody with about 2 million-ish kind of budget, okay, can look into Grange 1866. Just in case you are new also, you are still not familiar, take note our preview will start at 2nd April, okay, whereby we will open and invite customers to take a look, okay, 10 a.m. Okay, last few slides, okay, I don't want to take up too long of your time. I just want you to position yourself correctly when you meet your potential customers. These are a couple of things that they will look out for. They will ask you and find out more, okay? 5 considerations for such ultra luxury home buyers, okay, in core central region. First, money is not a concern. You must sell them a concept, okay, a home where character counts. Okay, you must stand, they must, after buy the Grange 1866 from you, know why this home has got a character that differentiate them from their peers. To me, this is really, really important. I see a lot of customers willing to pay very high price, very high per square foot because this is something unique that they cannot find. Okay, status aspiration, okay, and investment value. Freehold is definitely the investment value long term, okay, and status aspiration, okay, not many people can be beside Mark at Patterson, whereby the $6,800 per square foot being transacted, okay, is a very prime location, very near to Orchard MRT station, okay, so it's about where you potentially going to stay as a potential buyer. And just now I show you the profile, okay, your neighbors, you roughly know what kind of people will buy into such location. You want a better neighbors, you want good profile of residents that you network, okay? The younger generation, if you realize that a lot of people are very open, okay? They can work, okay, together, they can go to facilities and talk to people. So having a good profile of residents and having good neighbors are really important for such luxury property. Design attribute, okay, if you look carefully, this is not just another condominium, right? I think the architect really put in a lot of concept plan into such facade. You see the balcony that is coming out. To me, these are very timeless design, okay, that will last really, really a long time. And I really like something about the reflective glass that we see in this photo, okay, that this reflective glass always get to protect the facade, and when you got a nice facade long term wise, it will protect your capital appreciation. Of course, we have got the best location, okay, with the highest level of privacy in this location. You are near but not so near, okay, you don't live directly above Orchard Ion, okay, where you get to see a lot of people, but you live just a few steps away from the busy Orchard Road, okay, that you potentially can walk to Orchard Ion every day, no sweat, no problem. Okay, last but not least, I always want to end with this, okay, quote: nothing is more expensive than a missed opportunity. I want to reiterate that this is really a good time to come into estate, okay, market to buy something. And this is what I want you to go out and reach to your customer and sell more Grange 1866. All right, with that, okay, I thank you and the marketing department for the time. Okay, all the best to all my DD and ICs to have a good launch at 1866.